Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gramophone channel. As you know, my name is Luke, and thank you for joining us for tonight's special event. We're going to be talking all about Kaleidescape tonight, which is one of our favorite theater products and the best at what it does. And joining us to tell us all about how the Kaleidescape works is going to be Amanda Davis, and she is from the marketing team over at Kaleidescape. So we're going to get into everything about it, the features, how it works, why it's an improvement over traditional means of watching a movie, and we're going to answer your questions too. So make sure you stay tuned to the very end for our Q&A. And without further ado, allow me to introduce Amanda Davis at Kaleidescape.
Hi, Luke. Thank you. Thanks for having me join. This will be super fun.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And we're really excited to have you, as Kaleidescape is one of our favorite products because we know it is the best of its kind. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So, Amanda, if you could just start us off by giving us the who, what, where, when, and why of Kaleidescape. How long has the company been around? What are you all known for? What is Kaleidescape all about?
Sure, yeah, definitely. So, Kaleidescape has been around for 20 years, actually 21 now. We're known as the ultimate movie player.
Hmm.
Kaleidescape elevates every component in your theater with higher fidelity source material for the ultimate cinematic experience. So, when we were founded in 2001, our founders are basically movie lovers. So, they wanted to create something for other movie lovers. And they were at the same time creating a home cinema themselves. And so, what they wanted to do is to recreate the type of experience that you would get at a movie theater, like that magical movie experience at home.
Mm.
So, one of the things they wanted to do is figure out how to digitize your movie library so that you could watch it in any room in your house. And then also to implement some home automation integration so that you could dim the lights. Pressing play will dim the lights. It'll close the shades. It'll automatically adjust your screen masking. So it's more than just a movie player, like a disc player or even a streaming player. It actually interacts with your home automation as well. So that's essentially kind of where they started with. And so essentially the ultimate movie player was born.
Hmm.
Um, and one of the things that I like the most about it is that it's a really great way to interact with your movie collection because it's not just movies. Like you're not just going and getting a disc or you're not just finding a movie on a streaming platform. You're actually able to organize all of your content. You're able to create your own collections, kind of search for whatever parameter you want to search for. You can make really good, parental controls or create a child collection. So there's a lot of really cool things about Kaleidescape that go beyond just the performance. So that's one of the things I like about it.
Awesome. I really like the collection and scenes feature myself. Not only does it make for great, easy methods of demoing the Kaleidoscape itself, or just a high end theater in general here at Gramophone, but even from the consumer side of things, the idea of like, okay, I can take this home, I can get it installed, and my friends can come over and we can watch five of the best scenes in our favorite movies back to back in maximum quality. Like, that's actually pretty fun.
Yeah, we actually do that a lot too. So I call it scene surfing at my house. And so sometimes, we have little kids, and before bed, if we don't really want to watch a whole show or a movie and we just want to watch, you know, a song from Sound of Music really quick, we go for it. You can jump right to that song. Our content team bookmarks memorable scenes as well. So we had a moment where after Bohemian Rhapsody came out, and that's of course an R-rated movie. You definitely probably don't want your kids to watch, but at the end, the concert is really cool, and we were able to just jump right to that. You don't have to do chapter skipping. It's literally just that scene is bookmarked for you. So there's an interface on the menu where you can go into collections, and the scenes are already right there, so you can just go in and kind of browse through and just pick one to watch, which is really cool. Nobody
And
else
I've
does that,
noticed
so
that.
it's kind of like unique to Kaleidoscape.
Yeah, and on top of that, I've noticed that because your team already does, and you can make your own, but if your team doing most of the scenes as it is, I've noticed with just about every movie that we have on our Kaleidoscape here, they've pretty much already picked out all the best scenes.
Yeah, there's a couple that you can bookmark your own too. So when what was it called, Black Widow came out,
Hmm.
there's this really funny scene where the sister character, I'm forgetting her name, but she's given her a hard time where she's like, you pose like this. You're such a poser. And so I'm like, why didn't we bookmark that funny scene? And Luke on our team, his name's Luke O'Brien. He does content operations. I'm like, why didn't you bookmark that? And he's like, well, you can bookmark it. So I did, and so I revisit that sometimes. But yeah, you can do your own. You can choose the ones that we bookmark. It's kind of up to you.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's an awesome feature. Now, we'll probably get into this a little bit more later, but real quick, I want to bring up with Kaleidescape, it's generally the kind of product that you want custom installed, correct?
Yeah. We sell pretty much just through custom installers, or you'd want somebody to install it yourself. It's probably depending on the product and your skill set, you might be able to install it yourself. But yeah, it's a custom installation product. We actually built from the ground up for the custom installation industry. So um, yeah.
So, for those watching, when you inevitably think to yourself, gosh, how do I get one of these awesome Kaleidescapes? Call Gramophone. We'll help you with that.
There you go.
Now, Amanda, you had said Kaleidescape has been around for about 20 years now. Tell us a little bit more about how, over those years, Kaleidescape's evolved and what really your focus is today.
Yeah. So when we started, we it was kind of the DVD era. It was before
Hmm.
streaming existed, even, right? And so we started with digitizing like your DVD movie library, and then we evolved when Blu-ray kind of came out. It was a new format, and then we evolved again when 4K came out. And at
Hmm.
that time, actually before 4K came out, we created a movie store. So essentially, right now we're both a hardware and a movie service company. So on our hardware is where you will download and store your movies, and then and playback. But then you can purchase movies from our movie store. So we're kind of known for having the highest fidelity source content. We have fully lossless audio. We're the only digital movie provider that has fully lossless audio. And then fully, like a visually lossless video. So essentially, we've kind of innovated as time has gone on over the last 2 decades. And recently, within about the last year and a half, we've had a new leadership team come in. Taylor Stansbury is our new CEO, and he's brought on another, and he actually was a longtime customer as well. So he's kind of wanted to take us in a customer centric approach, which is
Hmm.
really cool. So we're sort of focusing on that now. He's brought on some more executives that have a lot of experience with the studios. So we're sort of heading in a little bit of a new direction, which has been really cool, and it's brought a lot of momentum. We have created a lot of strategic partnerships with other best in class manufacturers in the industry, which we'll probably get into later. But with
Hmm. I
Sony,
did see some of that.
uh, yeah, Stewart Film Screen, Lutron, lots of, I think we've got like 7 partnerships now. So that's been really cool. We've also won 11 industry awards within the last year. So our momentum has really shifted, I'd say, recently. And we've been, shipping new products as well, including the new compact Terra movie server. So
Awesome. I really like that compact Terra. The fact that you can put a player and a Terra right next to each other in the same rack, or even just comfortably on a shelf, taking up
right,
less space than an old DVD player is awesome.
yeah.
So, what would you say now with all this new stuff that Kaleidescape is doing? What are some of the unique and core tech that Kaleidescape has that is setting itself apart from everybody else?
Yeah, so we are basically like I said before, we're the only lossless movie provider. So that's
And
one
for
of
our
the
listeners who don't know, can you describe lossless?
ooh, there you go. So when you are compressing, thank you for this highly technical question. I'll try to do a good job. When for digital information, when you are sending it, through, you have all the digital information here, and then you're sending it through this little pipe, this wire, and then you're reproducing it at the other end. You have to compress it. So
Mhm.
our form of digital compression is lossless, which means that all of the information that is present at the beginning, it comes out the other end unchanged. Whereas streaming services, they actually remove little bits of information, compress it, and then at the other end it's not the same. It's not as full. So basically, when you're playing a movie through Kaleidescape, you are getting all of the audio that the sound mixer was hearing when they were finalizing the production, finalizing the sound mix. Which so that's one thing. Then we also have 8x the video bitrate of streaming. So our video data, while like maybe slightly compressed, is not quite nearly compressed as streaming platforms. And then I mentioned already, but we also embed metadata into our movie files. So we get mezzanine files from the studio, and then we create our own Kaleidescape movie files with those, which are like I said, the uncompressed audio and the minimally compressed video. And then basically we add those metadata cues, like we're bookmarking the scenes, we're setting the beginning of the movie, the end movie, so that those cues actually trigger your control system to dim the lights, to close the shades. With Sonique, you can, it will adjust your seats for you. It'll adjust your screen masking for you as well.
Oh, wow.
So that's our proprietary integration.
That's like 4D.
So
interacting
that's
with your room.
I know. So that's what we call like the digital projectionist. So those are all like very unique to Kaleidescape. I guess you're going to have to repeat the question. I'm not sure if I'm answering everything.
No, that sounds awesome. I think that's about perfect. Now, you said you get the original file directly from that movie studio that was producing the film, correct?
Yes.
So it's almost like having the original manuscript and working with the best version to ever exist of said film, and then manipulate it in the way that you need, which preserves everything that it has.
Right.
Gotcha.
It preserves it, and then we add on the cool. I'm going to call it the cool factor, Kaleidescape cool factor, which is the scenes and the integration.
And the ability to just easily have it arrive at the comfort of your home with the click of a button, but have it completely lossless.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I think to get into a little bit more of that, we'll go ahead and bring up a video that we prepared for you guys, and it's going to cover even more of what Kaleidescape's been up to and get into the details a little bit for you. Give you a nice visual. Here you go.
Starting from a customer-centric position, Kaleidescape has been working hard on innovation. And last we spoke, I teased about a few products that we had in the pipeline, and now we have just announced a Terra 72 movie server, which has 72 terabytes of storage. It will store 1,200 4K HDR movies for people who have rather large collections. And that's turned out to be a very popular product. We also introduced a new Terra server that is in a compact format. It's the same frontal size as one of our players, and so it fits right side by side with it in a 1U rack space. This server holds 12 terabytes worth of movies, and it is an ideal place to start your system and then grow from there, where it'll hold a bunch of movies to get you started, and it has the same download speed and the ability to run multiple playback sessions at the same time with multiple different Kaleidescape players around your house. So it's a much more powerful device than we've had before at the low end. Kaleidescape has announced a number of great partnerships over the last few months. With Sony, we announced a partnership where when you buy one of their high-end projectors or their highest-end screen, as you see behind me, then you can get a rebate on the combination of Kaleidescape with Sony. And again, with the really high bitrate video that we feed, we believe that makes the Sony devices, and they believe the same thing, shine and at their best. Then we announced a partnership with Meyer Sound. Meyer makes really great speakers. They started their business in the venue concert space, and everything they've learned from that they distilled into their cinema speaker line. And you see some of their smaller speakers behind me. When we play our really high bitrate audio into those speakers, it just sounds great. And when you buy a set of Meyer speakers with a Kaleidescape system, then we will come out and actually make sure that it is commissioned correctly with all the setup so that the sound is passing the way it should, and all the connections are as they should be, and the programming is as it should be. We also announced a partnership with Trinoff. Trinoff makes really awesome surround sound processors. They do a great job of 3D spatialization, especially when the room is imperfect and you cannot place the speakers where you would like to place them. They can simulate that really beautifully. When you buy a Trinoff processor along with a Kaleidescape, then we will give you a set of movies that we and Trinoff have picked out together that will show off the sound the best. that free as part of the purchase of your Kaleidescape and turn-off system together. And again, we believe that the sound path from the really high bit audio that we compile for all of our movies in our 13,000 movies in our movie store, going through a turn-off processor and out through Meyer speakers is just going to give you an awesome experience. We also announced a partnership with Lutron, where we have integrated our system with their shading and lighting. All of our movies are marked with metadata that cues the Lutron system so that when you hit play on your movie, then automatically the shades will close, the lights will dim very gently and get you into the mood of the movie. And it also knows when the movie is ending and will start bringing the lights back up as soon as the credits start to roll so that to bring you back into the real world. We've also for a long time had screen masking automation so that when you hit play on a movie, it will know exactly what screen ratio you have and bring the screen masking automatically into place. You don't have to do anything, almost as if you had a virtual projectionist right there with you. And then lastly, we announced a partnership with Josh.ai with integration with their voice automation so that you can drive your Kaleidescape system from Josh AI. So my journey with Kaleidescape started as a customer many years ago. And so we are taking a very customer-driven approach to innovation and what we do with partnerships and go-to-market with the company. So we have introduced a bunch of new products. We are on a tear with innovation. We have a bunch more things in the pipeline. We've also introduced a bunch of new partnerships with people who coordinate with us in the video and audio chain as you set up a theater and the ambiance surrounding a theater. And we have a number of new programs to help customers get into these systems. So Kaleidescape is on the move. We're making a bunch of changes, and it's going to be a great future.
So you all are doing all kinds of things over there lately.
Yes, definitely.
Trinov, Lutron, those are some really good partnerships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome stuff. Now, one
Yeah,
thing I caught in that video.
we've also
Oh, go
added, I
ahead.
should mention, we've also added Stuart Film Screen and Cynique
Oh,
and
okay.
KPH Design, I think, since this video was made. So it was a busy year for partnerships, but all good though. And some of them have some really great programs available, including Sony, which I think we'll get into later. So
hmm
let you get to that.
We had been running the one with Sony here as well, which again we'll cover later, but it's really cool. You seem to be partnering up with some of the best names in the industry, and that's what we would say about those products too. So that's really cool. One thing I caught in the video though that I thought was interesting. Can you clarify something? When they were talking about the new Terra and the Strato and how we're doing the separate systems now rather than just the single unit, is it true that the new Terras can serve multiple Stratos so you can really get great bang for your buck in distributing your media across different rooms?
Yes, definitely. So
So I heard that right. Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah. So the compact Terra is great. So it's kind of like a little Terra essentially. So that's the full size Terra. But the compact Terra has sort of the same performance capabilities. It's just smaller. It serves up to five of our Strato C 4K movie players at the same time. So you can have, if you're at your home, if you have 5 rooms that you want to watch your movies on, you can have up to 5 players. But it's also scalable. All of our systems, you can add on additional systems and support more players. So yeah, and then the full size Terra supports up to 10 players. So really,
Oh, wow.
it's the sky is the limit with scalability there. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but pretty much.
That'd be a lot of theaters and a lot of TVs, 10 players, but that'd be really cool though.
Yeah,
But that
and without,
expandability
I
is
mean,
fantastic.
yeah, and without loss in performance. It's not like when you're streaming a movie in one room and you're streaming in another room and you're kind of like, oh, stop
You don't
streaming.
keep
But
cutting your
no,
bit stream in half.
yeah, exactly. With Kaleidescape, it's all the full stream. So
When you think about trying to do streaming movies in multiple rooms, and especially if someone's internet isn't bulletproof, it's a nightmare.
oh yeah.
Generally with streaming services. So that's a really, really huge plus.
Hmm.
So another question that I have for you is, with the Kaleidescape product, can we get into the nitty gritty of how it actually works? Like get into the tech a little bit here. What do they actually do?
Yeah, so I'll give you an overview and then we can deep dive a little bit if you have any more questions. But like essentially, in our Strato and Terra lineup, we have a movie store. So what you do is you purchase or rent movies from our movie store. So we've got 14,000 titles available: movies, concerts, TV shows, stuff like that, right? Documentaries. And so you can either purchase or rent. I think we've got over like 8,000 available for rent. And they are downloaded to your Terra or Compact Terra server. So what a server is it's kind of like the brain of the system. It's like the computer of the system, right? And then the players connect to the server, and the Strato players can play up to 4K Ultra HD with HDR. So top of the line, yeah, exactly, top of the line playback. So again, like we just mentioned with Compact Terra, it's up to 5 players you can play from that, and then Terra's 10. And so with the Terras, and if you have a gigabit Ethernet, essentially you can download movies as fast, a full 4K movie as fast as 10 minutes right now. So it's pretty quick. Like,
oh wow, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. So and then it's ready for playback. So that's essentially how it works functionally. And then, of course, we mentioned earlier on your on-screen display, it's in fact, the picture right behind me is the on-screen display. That's the cover art menu. You can sort through your collection there and do a lot of cool things with that functionally as well. So
I always really liked when you go to the cover function and you land on something and sit there for a second, it'll reorganize according to similar titles. I always thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
okay, I want to watch something like Godzilla tonight, but not exactly that. But then it'll show you things that are similar.
Yeah, so we have an algorithm that kind of does that, and it's really fun to just watch it kind of sort. I should also mention we have a child collection and a child interface, which kind of looks like that, but instead of having the title and synopsis pop out, it's just cover art. So we sell an add-on child remote, which means any parent who kind of wants to have a little bit more control over what their kids are watching, they're not just like streaming whatever and they don't know and it's auto playing. You actually choose which content to put into your child collection, and then you give them the remote, and then they push any button on the remote, the child interface pops up, and they can scroll up, down, left, right. And it doesn't sort like that, but it just allows the kids to kind of pick whichever movie they want. There's play, there's a stop. So that's really nice as well. And we have just, other regular parental controls as well. But that's a really nice add-on, I think.
That's a great feature. Think of like parents who like hosting the sleepover for their kids' friend group, and you can just give them the child remote and not worry about what they're going to get into. They can just check out all the Pixar movies and entertain themselves for hours.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. I have that. I have a lot of different Kaleidescape at my house, but we've also got a cabin. And I guess I should mention that, a lot of people these days are like, well, if I can stream my movies wherever, I just have a streaming subscription and then I can stream it on any player at wherever I am. But with Kaleidescape, you can actually download your movies onto up to 5 different residences. So that's actually really cool. So we have a cabin, we have a family cabin, and we have our child collection at the cabin, and we have the child remote there. And so the kids, if they're just, doing whatever, they can go on to the, child collection there or at our house. So that kind of makes it really convenient.
That's awesome. And that's a really, really cool feature. Now, one thing I want to clarify, just for those who are watching who may not be sure. When we say download, we're talking about taking a file and saving it locally, not streaming, correct? So that once we have it, it's there and you can play it, internet or not. And by doing so, that's how we're guaranteeing the quality, right?
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
So the movie is actually downloaded bit for bit onto your local hard drive. The hard drives are in the Terra or Compact Terra server. The Compact Terra has 1 hard drive, and then the Terra has 4 hard drives. So, we scale up from, I know. So the Compact Terra starts at 6 terabytes. It's got a 6 terabyte or a 12 or an 18 option. So depending on how many movies you have or you think you're going to want to have, the rule of thumb is 100 4K movies per 6 terabytes. So the entry level product is like Compact Terra 6 plus the Strato C, because you need at least 1 movie player. And then you would get 100 4K, full resolution 4K movies on that. And then if you go to the 12, then it's 200. If you go to the 18, it's 300. Then if you jump up to the full size Terra, the 48 has 800 movies. And then the 72, yes, 72 terabytes, 1,200
That is
movies.
ginormous.
So, and we have people who the 72 is actually really popular, believe it or not. People who really love movies love Kaleidescape systems. It's just the way to go, really.
So you've really got some people with like 2,000 movies ready to go.
Oh, or more. Yeah.
That's wild.
We've got people with multiple 72s,
That's really cool. Hey, movies are great. I
Yeah.
don't blame them. So, with all those great list of features, one thing that we put together for you all watching is we've got another video here that's just going to give you a visual of most of what we talked about and break some of that down. Here you go.
By now, you've probably heard about the latest in video technology, 4K Ultra HD. But what exactly does that mean, and specifically, why does it matter to you? It's about enhancing the cinematic experience. 4K offers 4 times the resolution of high-definition television or Blu-ray discs. This makes a dramatic difference in picture quality, especially on larger televisions or two-piece projector systems. However, there is a bit of a caveat in this whole 4K thing. You buy a new 4K TV, bring it home, set it up, and what do you watch on it? So you go looking for some 4K movie on whatever streaming service you use. Unfortunately, the bandwidth to offer true 4K across the internet to millions of viewers doesn't exist. So the streaming services compress the signal so it will fit on your internet connection. This literally squeezes the life out of both the picture and the sound quality, and you are left with a very mediocre entertainment experience. Kaleidescape would like to introduce you to the solution: the Strato 4K Ultra HD movie player. This device is capable of delivering audio and video quality that will surpass that of many commercial cinemas, just as the director and cinematographer intended. How? We download the movie in its entirety to a local hard drive, where it waits for you to push play. Instantly, every pixel, every detail, every nuance of the production is faithfully recreated on that beautiful 4K display you purchased. This also includes pristine multi-channel audio, just like the surround sound you experience at your local movie theater, because that too is what brings a film to life. The Strato movie player allows you to interact with your movie collection on your terms. Watch what you want, when you want, in the company of your family and friends, and do so by navigating through the most gorgeous, intuitive interface you have ever experienced. Press a button and the covers of every movie you own appear on the screen. Browse through the visual artwork or select a title in the alphabetic list. You see, streaming services are designed to deliver millions of movies simultaneously. Kaleidescape is only interested in one movie, the one you want to enjoy. The Kaleidescape Movie Store is online and offers thousands of titles for you to pick from. Kaleidescape has licensed these movies directly from the major studios, everything from classics to the latest releases. You can search by genre, ratings, your favorite actors, even by the year the film was released. Once you purchase the movie, it's yours forever. Never again will you have to dig through a collection of shiny discs. Your movies will always be waiting for you in pristine quality to enjoy now or later. Kaleidescape is about delivering the ultimate cinematic event to your home, because that's what it's all about. You, your family, your friends being immersed in an emotionally engaging viewing experience whenever you press play. Don't wait another minute. Talk to your authorized Kaleidescape dealer and begin your experience today.
All right, welcome back, friends. Hopefully that video made everything a little bit more clear for you as far as actually using the Kaleidescape and browsing the movie store goes. On the note of the movie store, though, Amanda, obviously you can access it from your unit itself and scroll through, but tell us more about the store itself. What kind of content do you have? When do you get content? The video said that you do quickly, but what does that mean? And if I recall, you can even order content, I think, from your phone or computer, correct?
Yeah. So our store is kind of accessible in 3 different locations. We have a web store. So on your web browser, you can just go to, I use the store.kaleidescape.com. for my cheat, but you can get in there, and then we've got a lot of really great banners on the storefront that kind of you can scroll through to see what the latest new releases are, new to 4K, if we've got anything on special pricing right now or bundles. And there's a lot of different ways to sort in there. You can sort and see some different collections. You can just search. You can filter out different things. So you can filter for like 4K only or Dolby Atmos or things like that. So that's one of the easiest ways. And then, well, except the mobile app. The mobile app's pretty easy too. So download our mobile app. It's available for iOS or Android. And essentially with that, you can browse and purchase your movies there. It's also very searchable, and you'll see the nice like headline banners to see what the new content is and the specials. And then the cool thing about the mobile app too, sorry to digress for a second, is that you can also control your system with the mobile app if you want to, like if you're in a bind or just don't use another control system. But the third store is called our store on screen store. So there is a place on the on-screen menu where you can go to the store and you can browse through there. We also put up banners where you can check new releases, new to 4K, new specials, things like that. So yeah, either way, it's really easy to find what you're looking for and download or pre-order movies there. We've got a lot of titles. I think I already mentioned that, but we've also got pre-order content. So if there's a movie that's in theaters at the moment, which thankfully theaters are coming back, we had a moment there where there were not very many pre-orders because there weren't very many theatrical releases, but now we've got pre-orders, and we've also got premium rentals, and premium rentals are essentially movies that are in theaters that are available to watch at the same time as they're in theaters. And so we've also got those. Yeah, so there's just a lot of different ways to kind of find what you're looking for.
I remember getting, or well, not just remember, rather I do, frequently get emails from Kaleidescape about new releases, and it'll be like, for example, the last Spider-Man movie, No Way Home. Like, we've got Spider-Man No Way Home, and I was like, already? Like, that's before all the other releases.
Yep. Yeah, we get movie releases pretty quickly. We get a lot of premium early releases, and so usually when those go live, they're just up that day that they go live, and it's pretty fantastic. And with pre-ordering, they download to your system basically the night that it's like the night before it goes live. It's like queued up, and then that morning at like midnight or 12:01 or whatever, it's ready. There you go. You can just watch that release.
So if I had a Kaleidescape, or any of us had a Kaleidescape for that matter, and let's say we went and saw Top Gun and it was awesome, and we were like, I've got to own that movie. We could pre-order it after seeing it, or just whenever Kaleidescape drops the link for that, and boom, whenever it's there, well, it'll be there.
Yeah. So we've got a pre-order collection in the drop-down menu on the web store version. So the drop-down has like a pre-order, premium rental, new to 4K, special pricing, things like that. So that's really a great place to go if you're looking for specific like new things. And you can also sort by popularity or, alphabetically in the store. Lots of different ways to, yeah.
And as far as just the volume of content in the store, just to touch on that again briefly, my understanding is that Kaleidescape pretty much has everything that has basically ever been on physical media for the most part, right? At least in terms of movies and that category.
We have a really huge collection. So over 14,000 titles at this point. 1,500 are 4K, and over 700 of the 4K titles are not even available on disc. So a lot of studios are not always releasing everything in 4K on disc anymore. And so that's one thing that makes it a good idea to switch over to digital, is because, in the future, it's possible that less things will get released on disc. And with Kaleidescape, our quality is disc or better, generally speaking. So yeah, we've got everything from silent movies. We've got the biggest collection of AFI Top 100 movies that are available on digital. And some studios aren't releasing everything on digital that they may have released on disc way back in the day. But as things become available on digital, we pick that up, and we're always up updating our movie library. We're always adding catalog titles that are maybe now they're available in Blu-ray quality, even though people want 4K now. Still, some things are not even in Blu-ray quality. So we're constantly updating our content. We're constantly getting in new content. We're increasing our concert library as well. We have a lot of customers and dealers who really like concerts. People love to watch their favorite musicians perform with their really nice sound system that they've purchased. So Kaleidescape is one of the best ways to do that because we're providing those concerts in lossless audio. So that's really popular. We're getting a bigger and bigger TV library as well. Within the last year, we signed to HBO and a lot of different.
Oh, okay. I didn't even think about TV.
I know we have a huge TV library, and we're kind of known more for movies, but we've really been, increasing our TV library. We've got a lot of niche content. We've got a lot of like Red Bull, sports action films. I mean, really, like it's super diverse. We have a huge library of content. I mean, we even have fitness. I mean, really.
Get in shape, high resolution.
Yes, exactly.
That is awesome stuff. So
Yeah.
let's shift gears and talk about the actual product itself. In some of the videos and what we've been talking about, we've been glancing over what the actual physical products are, the Terra, the Strato. But let's break down the lineup for our viewers. So we have the Terra servers and the Strato players. What are the ins and outs of how those work, what you need, and what a whole system looks like?
Well, it's pretty simple actually with Kaleidescape. So you need a server. So we've already mentioned a compact Terra or a full-size Terra. And there are some differences between the two. Currently, our compact Terras have less storage size. So it's a 6, a 12, or an 18 terabyte hard drive that you're getting in there. But the system itself is also smaller. So that if you have a limited amount of rack space and you don't have the biggest movie library, then the compact Terra might be perfect for you, especially if you only have like 3 rooms you're going to watch in, because that nestles into a rack right next to the Stratos movie player. The full size Terra is similar in functionality, but it supports up to 10 players, so it's bigger. It takes up a 2U rack space, and so those are the servers. So you need a server. The server is where the movies are downloaded to. That's where they're played back from, or not played back from, but they serve the movies to the player. So then you need a player.
It's the brains of the operation.
It's the brain. Yeah, you need the brain. It's kind of like if you have a desktop computer, it's the desktop, and then the monitor would be your player. Kind of, I don't know. But
Okay.
the Strato C is the movie player, and it's pretty compact. It takes up. It's also basically like 1 rack unit high, half rack, so you could have 2 next to each other, or and then stack them up from there. So you need those at a minimum. You need 1 of each at a minimum, and then beyond that, you got power cords, but I think those come in the box already, so that's not really an issue. You need to make sure that you have a HDMI that's properly going to support, especially if you have a 4K HDR monitor. You need to make sure that your HDMI supports 4K and everything like that. So there's some technicalities with which HDMI cords you need, and then some way to control your system. But even like I said before, the Kaleidescape mobile app can act as a remote control if you don't have a control system or you don't have, another third-party remote control. That's it. And then you sign up for the movie store, you register, and you get some movies. We've also got actually for new customers, we've also got 3 movie collections that are a really great way to go if you're just starting out your movie collection. So we've got
Like bundle packages.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we've got a small movie collection. They're called Experience Kaleidescape. They're actually on our store drop-down menu as well. They're called Experience Kaleidescape Small, Medium, and Large. And the small one has about 25 of our most popular films or our most watched films among customers. And then the medium one has about 50, and then the large one has about 100. And we offer those as an introductory movie collection to new customers because it's a really great way to just kickstart your collection. I mean, there's a lot of popular movies on there, from like Bond to some Pixar films, other action-packed films, some popular dramas, things like that. So that's available as well, to kind of get kick-started. But it's pretty simple. Like, you don't need a ton more than that. You need You need somebody to install it, probably.
That's where we come in. So keep that in mind, everyone. You want a working Kaleidescape? We got you. We'll make sure it's great. That sounds really good. So just to recap, we need a Terra to be the brain and to store all of our stuff.
Right.
And we need a Strato to be the muscle and slap that image up on our screen and play it through our sound system, right?
That's right.
Okay. And you can have a combination of a Strato with any of the Terra products based on your need.
That's right. And you can add on additional Terras. Let's say you start with an entry level 6 terabyte compact Terra, but you realize, hey, I really want 1,000 movies.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. Add on a full size Terra.
And there you go.
There
So
go.
you can stack those Terras and just
Yeah.
keep expanding.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay. So you don't waste anything.
Nope.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, Kaleidescape is more like an investment. It'll grow with you. It'll grow with your collection. As you add more rooms, or as you add more movies, as you add more homes, you can add more Kaleidescape.
I like scalability and things that aren't wasted and things that keep growing. It's always a good investment.
Yeah, and I should also mention our products are all made in the USA, and we have a 99.5%
That's a big deal.
reliability. I know. And in a solar powered factory, like it's genuinely, really good hardware.
On that reliability note, I remember when I was going through our dealer training for Kaleidescape, I believe it was under a 2% failure rate, which for anything involving a spinning hard drive is miraculous. Like
Exactly.
stratospheric levels of reliability.
Yeah, it's not one of those products that you need to upgrade to a new piece of hardware every 2 years. You will have this one product for several years.
So this is not a I shouldn't use any names. This is not a big box store planned obsolescence product.
Correct. This is a product, and we have our own proprietary software on it too, and we continuously update our software so to support our older hardware as well. And then we also have a support program that if you do have older hardware, you're able, and you decide maybe you want to upgrade, we have an upgrade program. So it's an investment. You got to think about it more as an investment that you will have in the long term. It's not one piece of hardware that you'll buy and then you'll be done with in 2 years. It's got longevity.
Which is awesome, because there are a handful of things in this industry that can't quite make that claim, and it's kind of a shame, because I often encourage some of our clients to look into products like Kaleidescape and others that are on that level in whatever respective field they're playing in, because it might be a bigger investment right now, but years down the road you won't be crying when it's useless.
Yeah, I've heard this, buy once, cry once, and it's
Yes.
true. You invest, you do it. If it's what you want, you're not going to regret it. And not only that, but if you're investing in a lot of other high-end equipment, you're not going to get the most out of that equipment if you're feeding it with, subpar source material. So if you want to reproduce that sound that the filmmakers, produced for the film, and you've bought this really nice sound system or a really nice screen, and then you're just streaming something to it, you're not going to get that full immersive impact that you would get with a lossless source.
When you think of what you can get with an OLED TV or a Sony laser projector or a Trinnov processor or Wisdom or Sonos Faber speakers, just all of these phenomenal names in this field. And if you're not feeding that well, it's like, what's the point?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like putting, like leaded gasoline in your Ferrari or something. You're just not going to get the same performance. And Kaleidescape is the only performance-based movie platform for home cinema out there.
Awesome. And on that note, we were talking about some of the partnerships that Kaleidescape has come up with that are great because they all serve each other so well. It's all dedicated toward that top grade theater experience for the home. One of the things that we're actually doing here at Gramophone, and for everyone watching, if you have any interest in Kaleidescape or putting in a home theater or doing any kind of upgrades, we're actually running a special right now where if you purchase a Sony projector and a Kaleidescape, and that Sony projector is at least $5,000 or greater, the whole package you'll save $1,000 on. So keep that in mind, because those deals that Kaleidescape is working out for us to then pass on to you is really good stuff.
Exactly.
So that kind of wraps up the bulk of our time here. So thank you, Amanda. But we got one little portion left, and this is the most important one. This is the live stream Q&A for our viewers, because this is why we do live streams for you guys. So what questions have you got for us? Mike says, does the Kaleidescape movie store have any exclusives? I think we touched on this, but let's cover that again.
Yeah, we did talk about this a little bit, but yeah, we've got premium rental and pre-order movies. So, when movies are in theaters, you're able to watch some of them. I mean, it depends on the studio, while they're still in theaters, which is really cool. So we got a lot of early availability. We also have premium sell-through, which means like some of our titles are available for purchase also early. And then I don't think I talked about the bundles though. So we have a really unique feature that is actually unique to Kaleidescape called Build Your Bundle. And this is a way to go into our store where you can select you can either go into a collection and do the button that's called Build Your Button, and then select all of the movies in there and purchase them at once. So let's just say, for example, you're a James Bond fan and you want to just go and buy all the James Bond films. Well, right now we're also running a special bundle called a super bundle, which means if you go into our store today, and it's live through May 31st till next week, and you want to buy all the Bond films, or you just want to buy some of the Bond films, if you choose 4 or more of them, then you unlock special pricing. And right now you're basically getting all of them for half off. So this is just like, go in there, buy your Bond films now. It's perfect. But yeah, this is a really great way to kind of pick and choose which movies you want to buy. Let's say for me, I've got kids, as we talked about, and we have some of the Pixar movies, but not all of them. And let's say we're running a Pixar super bundle, which we actually ran one a month or two ago. But you can go in there and you can pick, let's say you don't have Toys 3, so you could pick Toys 3, but then you can also pick Monsters Inc. and a couple more. That way you can go in and you can save some good money on purchasing just the movies you want instead of having to buy the full bundle. Back in the day with discs, they used to release those box sets. So let's say they've got the Harry Potter box set. All of the films are in this one collection, and you're like, yes, I'm going to save money. I'm going to buy this bundle. But then you're buying the whole thing, but maybe you already had one movie or 2 movies. With Kaleidescape, you can literally just go in and buy your bundle, but just the movies you want or just the movies you need, which is really cool. So that's unique, completely unique to Kaleidescape. And it also makes it just really convenient. If you already want to buy a bunch of movies, just going in there and just selecting them, and then the purchase page just comes up and you're like, yep, I want all those. Great, click. Easy peasy. So
awesome. And that Bond bundle is a genius idea, because from all the way to Sean Connery to Daniel Craig, that is just a genre, or a franchise, I should say, that just defines movies, right? So that is a great offer, I think.
Yeah, so we run those super bundles periodically, which is really cool. So keep a watch on the storefront and you'll see them. Or if you get the emails like you do, we usually put a little thing in the email about it too.
Yes, get on the Kaleidescape list. Whenever something new and good comes out, they'll let you know, and they always have it first. Even I, working in this industry and having been on that list for a while, I'm sometimes shocked, like, gosh, they got it already. All right, what's our next question? Joel says, is it worth it to buy a Kaleidescape if you only have a TV and not necessarily a projector? Even I would say yes to that. It might depend on the TV a little bit, but yes. What would you say, Amanda?
Yeah, no, I would say definitely. Yeah, if you're going to invest in one of those new OLEDs and it's got this beautiful 4K picture and it's like, I don't know, 85 inches, 100 inches, you're going to see the difference with Kaleidescape. We've got 8x the video bitrate of streaming. It's just not going to be the same with streaming. Not only that, but you're going to be missing out on the audio difference too. So if you decide to not go with Kaleidescape because you're like, well, I just don't need it because I'm not, I don't have a huge fancy theater, that doesn't matter. If you have great sound system, you're going to have better audio with Kaleidescape. We have 10x the audio bitrate of streaming. So either way, you're getting the benefit of Kaleidescape because it's going to elevate every other component in the chain in your theater or your living room. We call our living room, we call it the theater. So, even whichever room you're watching your movies in is your theater. Great. But it's going to just elevate that whole experience. And that's not even mentioning the Kaleidescape cool factor, which I talked about earlier, which is all the other fun ways to interact with your content. You're organizing it, the scenes, the songs, and then the automation if you have a control system at home. Like, it's just, it doesn't matter which display you have, whether it's a TV or a projector and a screen, you're getting benefits with Kaleidescape.
And I'll say this, one of the things that really like got me for Kaleidescape, where I was like, this is awesome, I want one and I want to sell them, was plugging a Kaleidescape Strato into a Sony OLED, specifically their A90J, which I've done a YouTube video on for those watching. And I put Lord of the Rings on, which was recently remastered in 4K with Atmos. I think it was Fellowship of the Ring, watching the cave troll scene. And I'm standing there watching this just like, this is one of my most favorite movies from one of my most favorite franchises ever. And I have never seen it look like this. Like, I had to walk away to make sure that I wasn't just going to waste time at work watching this because it looks so good. I was like, and it was the OLED TV that really made me realize it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, display technologies are getting better and better, but if content is lossy and super compressed, you can't reproduce that on the other side of the chain. Even, it doesn't matter how good your TV is, if the content isn't there to begin with, you're not going to get it on the other end. You have to start with full content, like the lossless content source. Kaleidescape is the only digital lossless content source for audio and fully, visually
that
lossless.
Says it all
video.
right there.
Right.
So the answer is yes.
So yes, 100%.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Okay.
From Tom, is Kaleidescape planning to release a new all-in-one solution or just do separates?
See, that is a great question.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So Kaleidescape started with a 2-component system. So we always have had a server and a player to start with. And then down the road, we introduced a couple of different models where we were combining the server with the player. We had a couple of different versions of what we called a Cinema One, and that was in the DVD and the Blu-ray era. And then we also had a Strato and Strato S, which was in the 4K era. But the problem with that is that you're compromising the performance if you're combining a server and a player into one box. And so what we did is we sort of went back to our roots with the 2-component system, and because we wanted to make the performance the best as that we could. So essentially, like, when we separated the Strato, when we stopped the Strato S and we introduced Compact Terra, we basically went to a form factor that was the same size. It's 2 components, but it's the same size in your rack, and you're getting, like, I think it's 10x faster download speeds with the Compact Terra over the Strato S. So, like, you can download a movie in as little as 10 minutes, as opposed to, I think it was about 35 or 40 minutes with the Strato S.
I think
so
it was, it was like 40 to 45. And one of the things about that made me think was, with the Compact Terra and the Compact Strato, or the full-size Terra for that matter, but with the way it is now, where as long as you've got the guts at home for good internet, and you can get it as quick as 10 minutes, say you're browsing movies on the Kaleidescape movie store. You want something new, you haven't downloaded it yet, a few friends or family members are over, it's like, okay, what are we going to watch? You decide on something, you start downloading it. I promise you can find a way to waste 10 measly minutes waiting for that to download, but 45 is a bit of a different proposition for something you want to do on the fly.
Exactly. So really what it did is it took our entry-level product, which our Strato S was more of our entry-level product, and really upped the performance a ton just by separating into 2 components. It takes up the same space. Totally no-brainer. And not only that, but with two products, basically you can download movies to the server while you're watching something on the player, and it doesn't impact the performance at all. Either.
That's a great point. I didn't think about that, because
cool.
A lot of these things, even in some computers or certain applications, it's like you're watching something or you're playing a game and you want to download something else in the background. No, but you can on the Kaleidescape.
Exactly. And not only that, but the Compact Terra serves up to more players at once, and the Strato S previously it was only 2, so you could only, so it's much more scalable. It's just so Generally speaking, it's more performance based. It's a better option to just have them stand alone. Plus, that way they take up the same amount in a rack side by side, but or you could stack them vertically, and then they're kind of cute and just sitting on your shelf too.
A little
So
Kaleidescape sandwich.
yeah,
And on that note of scalability almost always equals value, and that's huge.
exactly.
What do we got next? Clayton says, can you purchase Kaleidescape online? That's probably a little bit more of a question for me. Yes, you can. Skybygramophone.com.
Perfect. Yes, there you go.
All right, what else we got? Frank says, I'm a big movie buff. Me too, Frank. How much am I getting with Kaleidescape versus a streaming service?
Oh man, I hope I've made it
So
apparent
much.
that I'm a movie buff as well. I studied film in school. Once I stumbled upon Kaleidescape, I was like, this company exists. This is amazing. I was just totally geeked out. But yeah, hopefully it's obvious by now what the benefits over streaming are. But just to kind of reiterate, Kaleidescape is lossless audio. It's visually lossless video. Our audio is 10x the bitrate of streaming. Our video is 8x the bitrate of streaming. And we've also got proprietary metadata that interacts with your home automation system, your control system. So it dims, when you press play, it starts the movie right away. It dims the lights if you have the cues set up. I mean, you got to set up the cues. It dims the lights. It can close the shades. It can adjust your cine seating if you have that. It can adjust your screen masking if you have a projector and a nice screen. So really what it does is it actually creates that cinematic mood that you would experience at a movie theater. Streaming does not do that. There's no streaming services that do that.
Yeah, it's not going to be that quality. It's not going to adjust your seat if your home is wired that way. It's not going to adjust your screen. It's not going to be available in the different ratios for said screen depending on what you're using. This is just an entirely another level, even on a completely different dimension of home cinema experience. And what do we got next? Do we have any more? Yes, we do. Mary says, I have a large physical media collection. I'm in a somewhat similar boat. Why should I switch to the Kaleidescape?
See, that is a great question. Well, we have great disc to digital offers. So if you have a lot of discs because you're a movie lover like me, what you can do is there's a process to catalog your discs, which means that Kaleidescape will be able to recognize them and to see what movies we have available on the store that correspond to your movie collection. And we give really good disc to digital pricing. So you can upgrade, you can basically, if you have DVDs that were available on our store, you can upgrade them to either like the SD quality or the Blu-ray quality or the 4K. At a fraction of the cost for most of them. So that process is pretty easy to do. You're going to want to just talk to Luke or whoever at Gramophone is going to help you out with that. But that's a really convenient way to digitize your movie collection because discs aren't going to be around forever. And as I mentioned earlier in the program, there's more and more studios that aren't releasing everything on 4K either. So we've got over 700 movies on 4K that are not available on disc. So upgrading to disc shouldn't be a stopgap for you. It should be, a little hurdle, but it's surmountable. We've got great options for that.
And you mitigate that hurdle as it is.
Exactly.
Perfect. And I think we got one more here. Yes, Rachel says, how do I know which Kaleidescape product I need and what are the differences? We did touch on this a little bit, but we can reiterate a little bit for you, Rachel.
Yeah, so I would just start with how many movies you have or how many movies you want to have, because the Terra servers are at different capacities. So again, I'll just kind of go over that again. Our entry level 6 terabyte is basically holds 100 4K movies. The 12 terabyte is 200 4K movies. The 18 terabyte is 300 4K movies. And then the 48 jumps up a bit. So that's 800 4K movies. And then the 72 is 1200 4K movies. So depending on where you're coming into purchasing Kaleidescape, look at how many movies you have, look at how many movies you think you'll have down the road. Also knowing that you can always add on another Terra server down the road as well. But, figure out where you are to start, and then see how many rooms you have. Do you want to watch it only in one room? Do you want to watch it in multiple rooms? How many homes do you have? Just kidding. All right, we'll start one step at a time. But yeah, there's a lot of different options. So Luke or whoever at Gramophone would be able to help you out with selecting the perfect option for you.
Definitely. And like Amanda said, it really just comes down to what your needs for storage are. And I think one thing that we should bring up, because this can definitely have a little bit of impact, is say you have a 6 terabyte Terra and you can store about 100 4K movies and you've maxed it out, but you're not ready to buy another server just yet. You are not stuck. The Kaleidescape account that you're using knows what you own. So you can physically boot something off the drive, download something else, and then if you ever want to get it back, you can free up some room and do it again.
Yeah, that's true. So all of the movies are backed up in the cloud. And not only that, but if you don't want to purchase everything, you don't have to purchase everything either. You can rent movies. And with rentals, essentially, you've got 30 days to watch it. But once you start watching it, you have 2 days to finish watching it. And then with all of our normal rentals, you can put half of the rental cost towards purchasing the movie if you really decide you love it and you want to purchase it. So that's another good option if you don't have a huge library, or if you are running out of space and you want to just keep watching movies but not store them all.
And I really like what you just said about being able to put the rental cost back into it. On a streaming service, you can rent a movie. Maybe they give you a day to watch it. Kaleidescape is giving you 2.
Yeah.
But if you decide to buy it after that, say on like, not to throw shade at anyone, but say on like the Apple Store, you're not getting that rental value back. No. But with Kaleidescape, they're rolling that value over for you. You're not throwing away money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. So I think that is the end of our questions here. So we're going to get ready to wrap up. So Amanda, thank you for the awesome stream. You did phenomenal at answering all those questions for us. I think our viewers are going to be very happy. And even I learned some new things about the Kaleidescape that makes me want one even more. And I'm sure the viewers do too. So I really appreciate you having, you taking the time to join me. This was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was fun. Thank you.
And for all you watching, don't forget to subscribe to the Gramophone channel. We'd love to have you as part of the family. Give the stream a like if you had a good time or you feel like you learned something. And any additional questions you have, feel free to ask them in the chat, or once the video transitions over to a posted video, you can always chat with me in the comments section down there. So don't forget, one more time, don't forget to subscribe and check us out on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, handful of others. All that'll be down in the link below. If you want to learn even more about Kaleidescape, give us a call. We'd love to answer your questions. Stop by one of the showrooms. We have Kaleidescapes on display at every showroom. They're awesome. They really have to be experienced. Then you'll know for sure what you want. So again, we appreciate all of you being here, and good night.